Do you read Stephen King? Good news, there's a club for you. The Losers Club. Every Friday, us losers journey through the never-ending wastelands of King's Dominion. We sink our teeth into each of King's novels, dive deep into the lore, and review every adaptation. Even better, we're always having guests over. Thomas Jane, Will Wheaton, Mary Lambert, Mick Garris, the list goes on. So what are you waiting for? Join us as we read on through long days and pleasant nights.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With. It's an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville at WFPK.org, Consequence of Sound, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Wherever you're listening from right now, I hope you take a second to hit the subscribe button before we get into this. Whether you found us on YouTube, on Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts from, that includes iTunes and Apple Podcasts, where you can also leave a review, give a rating while you're at it. We put out interviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Consequence of Sound. Would love to keep you on board with all of those. I'm Kyle Meredith, and today my guest is Mac DeMarco. Yes, he's got a brand new record called Here Comes The Cowboy. We're going to talk about what attracts him to writing songs that are more or less unapologetically romantic. We'll also talk a little bit about cowboy culture, an artist named Henry Flynt that had a big influence on this new record. There's also a little rumor that he wrote and recorded all of this kind of at one fell swoop, and he tells me that's not exactly the case right there. We'll hear about songs like All of Our Yesterdays, a really fun jam on the record called Choo Choo, and even a hidden track. Yes, he's still waving the hidden track flag, which I'm a big fan of right there. He also started his own record label for this album. We'll hear what that means for his day-to-day career. Talking about the album Here Comes the Cowboy, it's Kyle Meredith with Mac DeMarco.
Hey, how you doing?
I love Here Comes the Cowboy, man. It's such a really nice record. Is it worth saying that this is unapologetically romantic? Is that what's going on?
I think a lot of my stuff probably is, but and nobody said that about it yet, so I'll take that. Sounds good.
It is not the first time you did it. What attracts you to that type of music?
I'm a big Beatles fan, big, love songs. And I think it's not cheating in a way, but it's writing about emotions that everybody has in one faction or another. I think, everybody can take something away. I think that's, maybe sneaky, but maybe works.
I mean, I definitely think it works. People are, coming to you in droves, hordes. I don't know the word these days, but there's a lot of people that's I guess hearing what they need to hear right now in this. I mean, I talk to a lot of artists who, of course, are writing what more or less, I guess you would say, is the political record right now, and this seems like the moment of escape for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is really. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, so I understand why people, feel the need to talk about it. But I've always I love music, and I love. My main goal being alive is I'd like to be happy. So I'm just trying to help other people maybe figure that out too in one way or another and figure it out for myself.
This record, I don't know, I hear like a 70s soft rock vibe on it. It's way more than I've ever heard on your stuff before. Maybe thematically, it's kind of your lane, but there's something in that California Laurel vibe that's going on here. I don't know how, and you moved to California. Is this your LA record, and how important was that this time around?
I guess this is the first record I've made fully in Los Angeles. Some of the songs are written out of my own stuff, but I don't know. I always, whenever I'm making music or working on music, I think in a way, LA is most of my crew here and a lot of the people that I am around all the time. A lot of expats, it's I don't know, not a lot of LA natives, so it's kind of a skewed. It's kind of like the idea of the way the album is. The album is kind of like a skewed cowboy record. It's I'm not a cowboy. It's not about a real cowboy. It's some kind of cartoon baloney. You know what I mean? So maybe that's indicative of how I feel about my life in Los Angeles or something.
But along those lines, I've heard you mention an artist named Henry Flynt and hillbilly tape music. I'm not familiar with that name.
Yeah.
Who is that?
I don't know much about that guy, but he was a kind of an experimental taper artist in the, I think, 60s and 70s. And he had this one song my drummer Joe played for me called Graduation. And it was I don't know, something about the vibe of it. It kind of sounds like a slow train kind of rolling down the tracks. The guy kind of sings like Kermit the Frog. I just got me. I like it a lot. It's weird. The lyrics are weird. strange song. It's cool.
Did I read that a lot of this record, I mean, no, recorded like within a couple weeks in January? Was it all written around the time you recorded? Like, was this all done in one fell swoop?
No, I mean, some of the songs I'd had for a little while. Some of them I did closer to when I recorded it, like right before. But yeah, I mean, when I think that people like that, like, you did it in 2 weeks, it's crazy. But, like, that's not true. It's like, I record, I sat down and did what you're hearing. That was done in, like, 2 weeks. But, the songwriting and stuff kind of was pieced together over a certain amount of time, Some songs were, like, 6 months old, some were 4, some 8,
No, I was gonna say your press agent's really on that one. That's that was a highlighted part in that press release.
I didn't really give them a press release, so I think they had to kind of take the money and run, if you know what I mean.
It's believable though, because there's an easy cohesion with all of this, and I think that's why I didn't question that. I mean, all of these songs sound like they sort of came from one solid thought pushed out into the world.
Yeah, I think especially with this one too, is that I wanted to make everything feel like the first time it was written, even though I did. It's like I kind of fall in love with the first way something is written down or recorded or something. So even though I redid a lot of this, redid the demos and stuff like that, I tried to, even with the master recordings, keep the vibe and like keep the feel of how it initially was. So, whether it was like not playing to a metronome or like recording something in the weird way that I did it the first time, it was like just trying to make it feel right.
A lot of artists, they don't go into a record like thinking, oh, I needed to sound in this specific way. Did that happen for you this time? Because I almost get the feeling that you had sort of a concept or an idea of how it was supposed to sound.
Sorta. I mean, it's kind of like I know what I like things to sound like, and it's like there's a certain kind of kick drum sound I like, or like a certain snare sound or bass sound or something. So there's things like that I'm drawn to, but I don't think like as a whole I was kind of like, I want this to sound like this record from this year. It's like but there are my tastes have grown as far as recording things just through doing it, I think. So there were guidelines that I was trying to follow and things that I was trying to figure out. That was kind of the weird part about it, is I would buy all this stuff and everything should be too many options, and I would kind of drive myself a little crazy.
Well, I bring up a few of the songs too. This one's not really a question, more of a compliment. All of Our Yesterdays, which of course became the lead single for the radio and everything, what you've been playing on TV, that solo is so perfectly placed and played at the end. It does everything for me. So there's a compliment there.
Oh, the little rip, yeah. That's not even the arrangement on the record, but we had a little bit of fun putting that together. So
yeah, that's what I was watching when you did that on what was it, one of the Tonight shows anyway.
Jimmy Fallon, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that moments in that song.
That's cool.
And Choo Choo, that's a fun jam, and I guess that's what I'm wondering. Is this just kind of a jam that you figured out afterwards? Like that's a song?
Yeah, it's not exactly a song at all. I mean, it's through the process of me being like, God damn, like I'm going nuts. Like I can't, putting these mics up on this piano, I was driving myself crazy. And so for one evening, I was just like, I'm just going to plug my guitar right in and just have fun recording something instead of worrying about how this like music that I need to show the world and try and sell is coming together, And then through that, then it was like Choo Choo and Cattleman's Prayer and a couple other little songs that didn't make it on the record just kind of popped out one night. And kind of, it was like a little bit of a reset, like, this is fun again. You know what I mean?
It is. It seems like that takes the pressure away. You get that on that first song too, as you're saying. It's like, with just a little repeating line over and over and over. A lot of artists, that's not complete to them. That's like, oh no, I've got to finish this. This isn't a full song. But for you, it totally sets up the entire record.
Yeah, it's twisted. I think that with Here Comes the Cowboy, I think when I recorded that initially, I don't know what headspace I was in, but I remember listening back and being like, well, this is probably one of the weirdest things that I've ever recorded. And that to me made me like it a lot, I think.
I'll also throw Hidden Track. You've got a hidden track.
The Cattleman's Prayer.
Yeah, it's a lost art right there, the hidden track.
Yeah.
I
mean, might as well.
You're banking on a lot of people, and maybe your fan base is. You're banking on a lot of people like having the record, or the CD or whatever, and actually putting in the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of do it with records. So, I mean, I just wasn't really thinking about it, I guess, but it's cool. I'm not, even the way that we've chosen the singles and stuff, it's like, they're not necessarily what I would think are like the singles on the record, or even classically like, you need this BPM for TV, radio, kid. Like, I don't really care, and I don't really, it is funny though, because probably the way that music is consumed for the most part nowadays is people know the 2 or 3 singles off the record and haven't heard a note of anything else. But I just don't really care. It's like the record makes sense as a whole to me, and if it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, that's probably why, because they just have a couple pieces of the pizza.
I feel like that's the easy seg too, and I'll wrap it up with this. This is all on your own now. I mean, you own this is your own record label debut, and what does that change about the day to day for you?
Not a lot. I mean, it's we did start a record label. It's through like a distribution company, and they're part of like a bigger label umbrella. So it's not like I started from the ground up or anything. And it's not like I have like an office and a bunch of employees or anything. But it's cool. I have maybe a little bit more control over things and just a little bit more. But not to say, I mean, working with my old label was very similar, and they're really sweet. And I'm still working with them and all that stuff that we did with them. And yeah, it's cool. I think the main thing for me that I find cool with the concept is like now I'm in a position where, say, someone that I know or something that, someone's music that I love, if they're looking to try and get it out to more people or have like it released or something in some kind of fashion, like we can help with that. Like I have the capacity to help with that now and like a budget and stuff. So that's the cool part for me. But I mean, that being said, we haven't done anything like that yet. So we'll see what ends up happening with it.
Well, it was great to talk to you. Congratulations on Here Comes the Cowboy. And again, it's just been such a great listen. And it's been fun to watch you, kind of do this big arc over the last few years. It's been exciting for me. I can't imagine how exciting it's been for you.
It's been strange, I'll tell you that much.
I bet. Mac, it's a pleasure talking to you. Take care out there. We'll see you around.
Okay, see you later.
Big ol' thanks to Mac DeMarco again. The record Here Comes the Cowboy. Hey, don't forget, before you get out of here, to hit the subscribe button to this series if you're not already subscribed. And again, that means anywhere you get your favorite podcasts from, like iTunes and Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube or Spotify. After that, please head over to WFPK.org, where you'll find me every Monday through Thursday from noon to 3 Eastern. I also throw in some bonus episodes of this series over there. ConsequenceOfSound.net has your music and film news. You can find me at Twitter at Kyle Meredith and Facebook/Kyle Meredith. And that does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.